Welcome to the Detroit Sports Room, your home for Detroit sports news and information. Now, here's Jim.
Hey, this is Jim, and welcome to the Detroit Sports Room. And apropos, we have Detroit Drew with us today. And hey, what's up, Drew? What's going on, man?
Well, what's going on, Jim? Glad to be on the show, man. I'm ready to talk whatever you're ready to talk about.
Oh, I'm ready to talk about you. That's what we're going to start out with. So, first of all, I mean, I know you call Detroit Drew, but what made you? And I've been saying what have made you become a Lions fan. So we'll start with that. I know you did a lot of Pistons stuff, so I'll go there in a second. And if you want to do both, that's fine as well.
No, I'm both. The journey to become a Detroit Drew is kind of a weird one. I started doing YouTube just for poops and giggles, and I never really took it serious. My brother, who is like 5 years younger than me, was doing all kinds of YouTube stuff at the time, and gaming YouTube was what I watched, just growing up. So that's really what I first started at, but I never really learned how to edit stuff. So I just put random stuff together out there and it never panned out. And then I think right around the time Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, I made a video about that. And at the time it had 100 views, which I thought was crazy to me. And then after that, I was like, well, why don't I just talk basketball every day? And the Pistons are my number one team. I've always rooted for the Pistons, always will. So I was like, why don't I just talk about my team? Because I live outside Detroit, so I don't really get the Detroit sports radio station. There's spots here in Flint where it comes in, but even when I do get to listen to it, they're always dogging our teams, no matter who they are. So I was like, I'm gonna put my belief out there, what I think the Pistons should do, what I think the Lions should do. So it's kind of what I just did. And eventually, once I took it off, I got to watch great people like Everything King and kind of learn from them and what they're doing and kind of put my own twist on it. And then eventually I just messed around with editing, and now I got a setup. Now we get to do this. It's really cool. It's come such a long way from what it first started. It's unbelievable.
When did you start?
Oh, man, it was – well, when did I start talking Pistons or when did I start YouTube?
When did you start talking Pistons, and when did that change come about? How long have you been into it until it's gotten to where it is today?
I probably started YouTube in 2016, late 2016, probably the summer of that. And then probably by 2018, I started talking to Pistons. But I don't really think I really, really started until almost the end of 2019, the beginning of 2019, where I really started to upload every day. I really think that's really when it started, but I've been talking Pistons on YouTube for a little bit. I didn't take it as serious as I do now. I do a video every day now, and it's not because I feel it's a job, but it's something that I love, and I want to get the team out there. So I've been talking Pistons for quite a long time now.
I know. You know what? I used to. You're a fellow member of the DSA, just like me, but I used to watch you before I knew who you were. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Before I got to, meet you and stuff like that, and do things like this and stuff. And you had some pretty cool videos back then. So I was sitting there and I was watching you a long time ago, to be honest about it.
That's the cool thing though, is, through YouTube, through talking sports, I get to meet other Detroit fans. I don't make as much Lions content as I probably should, but I've met a lot of cool people from talking Lions. I've met a lot of cool people from talking the Pistons. I got a bunch of people that follow me on social media, Instagram or Twitter, that talk trade rumors or free agent signings all the time. It's kind of crazy, to be honest with you, but it's such a cool experience.
It is. So where do you see your channel and you going 5 years from now? Is there a goal? Is there something you see in the future?
I don't really set goals on it, because if you do and you don't achieve it, it's really kind of devastating. Because, last year my channel grew so much. It's overnight I was gaining hundreds of people. It was really, really something. I couldn't believe it. And there's times in YouTube, and if you're starting YouTube, if you're trying to get out to it, don't get discouraged by it, because it comes in waves. I did YouTube for 2 years without really gaining any momentum or subscribers. I don't really look at that, to be honest with you. I have a lot of cool fans that are really there for every video. It doesn't matter what I'm talking about. They're always there. So I'm really just looking forward to building more relationships with the subscribers, with the peeps, helping the DSA grow and making more and more of you guys get to where I'm at and helping you guys out and really getting our name out there. But all the success that comes along the way, hey, I'm not gonna I'm not going to stop trying to achieve it, but I'm not going to go ahead and set a goal out there and say, oh, I want to be at 10 million subscribers in 5 years. But hey, anything can happen.
All right, that sounds good. Now this is the next thing, because we're going to get into a little Pistons talk right now. And do you see a championship in our future in the next 5 years?
In the next 5? I mean, my fan wants to say yes, I do, but realistically, I'm going to go ahead and say probably not. And really, it's going to depend on who we draft.
Soul crushing.
Hey, I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm not gonna come out here and spread BS or drink the Kool-Aid.
Right.
There's a lot of change happening right now with this team. We got a new GM. Dwayne Casey's still only been here for 2 years. We got a lot of young talent that needs to grow, like Sekou and Luke Kennard and Bruce Brown and Mahai Luke. They all need to get some more reps and get better. And this draft right now, heading into 2020, is extremely crucial to starting this rebuild right now. And hey, if they get the right player, maybe in 5 years, but
yeah,
it is so tough right now. I mean, look at the Eastern Conference. Brooklyn's going to get back Kyrie and KD next. They're going to be healthy for the next 5 years if they stay that long. Washington's getting John Wall back. He's about to be healthy. He's out here throwing 360s downs in practice right now. He looks believable. So a lot of people say the East has always been weaker. The East is getting really, really tough right now. So
yeah, it is.
It's not going to be easy for the Pistons in the next 5 years. So I'm kind of at peace with that. I'm just kind of out here having fun with it. I don't really expect a championship in the next 5 years.
That's okay. I'm a Lions fan too, so.
Hey, we're still waiting for one, man. Yeah, you can see the hat. The Lions make me drink. So.
Is that what did it to you?
Yeah.
No, but that's the thing. Like okay, so more Pistons talk. What is the one free agent that you would want to nab if you could this off season?
Well, there's a couple of them that I really think that we should try to go after. Obviously, center is just a huge hole we have right now. And I really don't want to draft a center after we just gave up Andre Drummond. So I kind of want to go for like a veteran center who can kind of be a leader, or just go out here and get a couple blocks, a couple rebounds. And maybe it's just the Flint in me that I want to go ahead and get another Flint player like JaVale McGee. But this guy he has really matured since, he played for the Wizards and the Nuggets, where he was on Shaqtin' a Fool every night. This guy's a legit role player now, and he can be a good player for a good team. He's been on the Warriors, where they won 2 championships. Now he's on the Lakers, where now they're one of the favorites to win an NBA title. So I think he's probably on one of my top lists, and the other player would have to be Dwight Howard, where, we lost a player like Andre. He was Andre Drummond, but way better defensively, and now he's not the same Dwight he once was. But when healthy, Dwight can cause some havoc. So those would really be my top 2 free agents outside of Brandon Ingram. And I only say that because he's restricted and he's not going to go anywhere. So
okay.
he would take the icing on the cake. Like, he would be number 1, but it won't happen.
Yeah. I mean, even if we throw a lot of money at him, they would probably match.
Oh, for sure. I know I would.
Ooh. Okay. So we talked about free agency. So I'm going to go a little bit into trades. Is there anybody on the horizon or somebody who you might want to bring in a trade? And if so, who do we give up?
NBA is weird. Like the NFL, if a player comes available, like, it's like, all right, we got to wait. We got to like balance the books out. NBA, pretty much anyone can be available at any time. So I don't really know what's out there right now. And plus, the way the NBA is, player movement is so frequent. Superstar players ask for trades. Superstar players go into free agency and sign somewhere else. So I think the Pistons have done a good job of, just in the last couple months here, of making some salary cap room. So that way, who knows? We've been in the discussion for the Westbrooks, the Bradley Beals. We just haven't pulled the trigger on it because we've been kind of handicapped by our salary cap book. So maybe next time one of these players come available, the Pistons will have a little bit more leverage on it. So for right now, I don't want to go too deep into trades. I think that right now our primary focus should go through the draft. But hey, anytime a star player becomes available, see what's going to be out there. See what they want, because if you can get them for cheap, jump all over it. If not, hey, you've done good. Saving up your money and waiting for free agency to happen. So right now, I don't really know what's out there trade wise, and with everything happening with the lockdowns and the COVID and stuff. I don't really know how much player movement we're really going to see here. So
yeah, that's a crazy stuff right now.
We're kind of in uncharted territory. So I kind of just got to wait and see.
That's true too. So we had the Red Wings little ping pong ball of death thing earlier, and and we got screwed royally. Pistons, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was only one time they moved up in the lottery system.
I'm not sure off the top of my head. It has to be something minute like that.
Right. Do you think, with the history of our beloved city and how we seem to get screwed over and over and over again, do you think that where do you think the Pistons will fall in the lottery? If you had to take a guess.
Well, let me go ahead and say this first. We're not going to get screwed as bad as the Red Wings would have, because whoever gets the top pick is not going to be a playoff team.
No, that's true.
Well, that's not really, because the Warriors are going to be, because they're going to be healthy, but they had a bad season. Like, they didn't make the playoffs and got the pick. Looking at the numbers, it's really weird to me. Right now, we are the 5th pick in the draft before the lottery happens, and we only have like a 2.5% chance of keeping the 5th overall pick. Like, it's the lowest crazy. Outside of 9, I do believe. So whatever we're going, I really don't think it's going to be 5. We do have a 40% chance of landing a top 4 pick. That's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then I think like 6 and 7, somewhere like 30, somewhere like that. So the odds are actually the Pistons moving up. Now, if that's going to happen, I don't know. It's really luck, but I really think the NBA can benefit from helping the Pistons out. You know, you get a top player in Detroit. Look at Detroit, you know, when we have good teams. It's not just the Pistons. Look at the Red Wings, man. Look at the Tigers. Mm-hmm. We can go back just a couple of years ago when the Tigers were in the World Series. Comerica Park was packed. Look at it now. Yep. It's completely dead.
Yep.
You know, the Red Wings have like the most loyal fans outside of probably the Lions I've seen. You know, they're crazy. Lions fans, they go to us to watch an 0-16 team. They really don't care. They're just out there to go watch their team. But you put a good product on for the Pistons, they set an attendance record for most consecutive sellouts during the 0-4 team. Like when they won the championship, and I think up to like 2008. So there's like about a 4 or 5 year span where they sold out every single game. Didn't matter who they played. You get a good player here in Detroit this draft, I think you'll see the same thing. So the NBA can really benefit from it. But personally, I'm pulling for the number 1 overall pick. Of course, I'm not going to say I'm not going to want it, but I think we have a real good shot at landing a top 4.
That's good. I think we're going to be 7th or so, because that's kind of how things work. And I always get excited. Seriously, because I always get excited, and then I'm like, crap.
Let me ask you this though, real quick. Is this what it feels like when I'm on the round table talking about the Lions? I feel like every time I'm on the round table, I feel like I'm always the negative one, which probably am, to be honest with you.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not Mr. Positivity. You know, I fall more into the realistic category because I'm 50 and I've seen this team get screwed so many times. It's terrible, you know. But I've seen it for the Pistons too. I've seen bad calls for the Pistons all the time.
It's not as bad as the Lions.
No, it's not as game-changing as the Lions. And, of course, the Lions only have 17 games. There are 16 games to play in a season. It will be 17. But the 16 games in a season, you lose a couple because of the refs are really kind of screwing. You're getting screwed. I mean, you can't lose very many games. NBA season's a lot longer. Well, maybe. We'll see this year.
Seen it several times where a team got off to a slow start, like, I don't know, like, just under 500, and all of a sudden after All-Star break they turn up a notch, and you know they're top 4 team in their conference. It happens all the time. You know, in the NBA, you got a couple of weeks, and if you lose 3 or 4, you're in a bad way.
Yeah, in NFL, I think it's if you go 0-3 or 0-4, there's like a huge percentage that you won't make the playoffs or something. You go 0-4 in the NBA, okay, well, let's make some adjustments, make some trades, do some things, and you can still be a playoff team by the end of the year.
Going 0-4 in the NBA, that's only 1 week. You can go 4-4 the next, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of the way it is, though, you know, and the differences between the NBA and the NFL. I was going to ask you also, what players are you looking at for potential draft picks for the Pistons? What choices would you make?
LaMelo Ball is at the top of my list. You know, a lot of people in Detroit, they're kind of iffy on LaMelo. There's people who want LaMelo, and there's people who just want to stay away from him because of his dad LeVar, because of his brother Alonzo, where you know they hyped him up to be like Magic Johnson 2.0, and it's not really his game. His dad kind of hurt him there. But you know, looking at what Alonzo did, is he really worked. Now he's a really good player. I'm not saying he's an all-star superstar because he's not, but he's a starting point guard. He's a great defender, And over the years, he has improved. He's completely changed his shot. Coming out of a family like that, where you've seen a player take all that kind of negativity and still work hard, got traded from the Lakers to New Orleans. Like, think about that. Like, you went from like the city to it's still a good city, but I don't like seafood. I don't like crawfish. I wouldn't want to live there. Not knocking New Orleans, but it's not my kind of food. It looks gross to me. I wouldn't be happy if I got traded there.
I don't know, man. I would party. They party all the time down there.
They do. I would have to carry a lot of beads with me.
Right.
No, but with LaMelo, I think he'll take kind of a similar route. Probably not the criticism, but his work ethic is going to get better. His jump shot, it's okay right now, but he does have to tinker with it and get better at it. He's a great passer, can hit anyone from any stride. His defense needs work, but offensively, he's a scoring machine, man. I think he has one of the highest potentials in the draft. And say he goes number 1, we get the second overall pick. I'm taking Anthony Edwards in a heartbeat. This guy, God, he is so dominant, man. He is just a freak of nature. He just dunks so effortlessly. I think if we fall down, say we get to your 6th, 7th, or 8th pick, there's a couple of point guards I really like. I like Killian Hayes. He's a guy who can come in and play make. He's got some work to do with his shot and his defense ability. But my highest one outside of LaMelo is Kyra Lewis. I've been watching this guy. He's only 100 and some pounds. Like, he's not very big, but this dude is so fast. He's got blazing quick speed. He is energetic, fun to watch. Like, he'll make some highlight plays here. And then Cole Anthony, he's a scorer. He said he's not 100%, that he was only playing 50% in college, which that's true. Oh, my God, watch out. But I don't know, man. I think there's some good players in this draft. A lot of people said it's not a deep NBA draft, and that may be true in the terms of stardoms, but I think there's going to be a lot of great players coming out of this draft.
It doesn't really have to be deep for us because we have a top 10 pick. So
yeah, that's true.
I pretty much think we're guaranteed top 10, right?
Yeah, the farthest we can fall is 9, and I think that's less than 1%. It's like 0.9 of that happening, which knowing us, it probably will.
Yeah, I don't even want to go there because I'm still hurting over the Red Wings. I'm being honest.
That was tough, man.
You got to take a breath after that stuff, just like Green Bay and Detroit games and Lions and stuff. And it just seems to happen to us as a thing. So here's a question for you. There is this thing where people believe in Detroit versus everybody. And then there's the other side of the fan base that kind of believes that, we didn't do enough to win, which, it could be both if you want, but which side do you fall on? Do you think the refs really do screw us, or do you think it's more of a thing where, we're just not talented enough to win?
Well, I am a Detroit versus everybody kind of a person, and it's not – I think that we kind of have to separate this one a little bit because I'm honest. Like, if I don't think the Pistons are going to be good, I'm gonna like not say they're going to be good. Like, that's probably one of the reasons I haven't talked about the Lions as much because I'm not believing it.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of the fans are that Detroit versus everybody where it's like, oh, if you're not talking positive about the team, I'm not going to talk positive about you, which is cool and all, but I'm honest. So – if you talk bad about my team and you're not from Detroit, I'm probably going to let you have it, to be honest with you. Hence why I talk so much about Bleacher Report. They dog our team so much. I'm like, no. You can't do that to me.
They love to report anything negative.
Oh my God.
They really do.
Everything from trade rumors to talking about how they're not going to be a playoff team. And it's not just, it's all of our teams, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is.
I do kind of think there is a vendetta against Detroit from the refs because look at our divisions, in all the sports. Detroit's not really a household name in terms of people outside of Detroit wanting to watch them.
Right.
Probably with the exception of the Red Wings. The Red Wings are good for hockey, just across the world. Like you can go anywhere in the United States, across the country, you'll find someone with the Red Wings hat, jersey. Like it's all over the place.
In Arizona, it's almost a home game.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people from Michigan there too.
Yeah.
Down in Florida, there's a ton of them.
Yep.
But looking back at like the 2004 finals, like no one wanted the Pistons to beat the Lakers. No one wanted to see them beat Shaq and Kobe. And I think after they did, a lot of the fan base was kind of turned off. Like, wow, you just beat our two heroes, which, it plays a factor. And, like when LeBron came up, he got all the calls, not saying that he didn't earn it because that one was 2007 where he went bananas against us. He earned that, but those kind of players get all the types of calls against Detroit because they don't
Jordan.
Yeah, because
they don't want
to see him lose, and the bad boys, were better for 2 or 3 years before Jordan became Jordan. But at the same time, without the bad boys, does Michael Jordan become Michael Jordan?
I
Probably
agree
not.
with that 100%. That's my take. If they didn't pound the hell out of him for I don't know how many series until he got to where he was, he would have never been as mentally tough as
As
he
a com-
became.
yeah, as a competitor, as an athlete, you have to have that competition. I'm going back to Little League for this one when I played baseball,
Mhm.
because I actually played baseball through like t-ball all the way through high school. Like I talk about basketball all the time, but I am way, way better at baseball than I will ever be at basketball. And I'm okay at basketball, to be honest with you. So um, we had a little rivalry going on through Little League. We were probably about seventh or eighth grade, kind of like right where you're becoming a teenager, right where you're starting to become kind of a man, and the testosterone starts going. And
Mhm.
this one team was sponsored by a local pub, and their catcher was supposed to be like the best catcher in the league. And I played catcher at the time, and I had the cool like hockey mask and pads
Oh,
like
sweet.
way before its time. It was so cool. And everyone around the league always talked about like he's the best. Well, it made me want to work harder to practice throwing people out, to stop ground balls from going through when they throw a bad pitch. I became tougher. Like I would take foul balls like to the chest, to the arms, and it didn't even phase me. A lot of people like adults would have like been down after those ones, but I was just so focused on trying to be the best player in the league, the best at my position, where anytime I went against that guy, I batted no less than 3-4, or if we played double headers, like I was bound to get some RBIs. So that's the competitiveness in people. And Michael Jordan's the ultimate competitor. So when the bad boys were maybe not as talented, but more physical, where they were just beating him down and wearing him down, he worked out, he got better, and then eventually overcame the Pistons. As a competitor, you got to have that trait.
Yeah, you do. And I think that did you happen to watch the Last Dance
Oh, I
thing?
did every second of it.
What did you think about the way the Pistons were portrayed in that?
I seen it coming. I'm not surprised by it. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, which I don't know why Scottie Pippen runs his mouth because he's not as good as Jordan. Like Jordan can say it because he's the GOAT.
Mhm.
Scottie Pippen, man, like come on, like come on, man. But I expected it. I was surprised by this, where MJ said that Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard of all time. No debates, no denying it. But right there, right below him, just by a smidge, is Isaiah Thomas. So that was kind of like
Wow. That
refreshing.
is cool. Yeah.
And I was surprised by it. I didn't see it coming. Isaiah still should have been on the dream team, and that's not for debate.
I agree with that 100%. Isaiah should have been on the dream team. I don't know. It was just a personal thing, I guess. And I hate that kind of thing, though. It seems like that's one other thing in the national media, whether it's Pistons or I think especially Lions, we always get, I say, underrated by the national media as it pertains to our teams. Like if you look at Madden for the Lions, all the scores are like really low, and nobody in the top 100 this year. And and it happens to the Pistons, it happens to the Red Wings, not as much the Red Wings, but it has been for the past couple of years now that they're not any good anymore. Or that they haven't been. The question is, though, what do you think? What do you think generates that hostility almost? And you can feel almost a national bias. Do you think it's a national bias, or do you think it's us being homers that just look at our teams like they're so much better than they really are?
I think it's a mix. I know a lot of Lions fans always want a Super Bowl every year, and that really can't be your expectation. Like you only won 3 games last year, so you can't go from winning 3 games to being a Super Bowl contender or winning the Super Bowl. It's not realistic. But I think the problem with it is, for the last couple of years, all of our teams have been hurt. Like it's been remarkable. Like
Yeah.
I can't remember one season where one of our teams has been completely healthy. And I'm not just talking about like role players being healthy. I'm talking about our star players being healthy. Miguel Cabrera has been hurt for
Yeah,
years. He finally
absolutely.
looks healthy, and he's killing it right now.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin, he was hurt all this year.
Yep.
But
Luke
before him,
Kennard.
Reggie Jackson, our starting point guard, a lot of people
Yep.
don't like him, but he missed an entire year.
Yep.
Last year, Stafford broke his back. That is our team right there. He literally broke his back. Like we just haven't been healthy. So I think kind of like the media kind of looks at that and is like, yeah, they'll probably have an injury. They won't be as good. But I think a lot of it, they always hype up Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, and Detroit's just kind of like that other team in that division that no one really wants to talk about until they start doing good. But even then, it's like, if they don't win this game, they'll never do anything. It's like, that's not really true. So I don't know really what the vendetta is. Like, I don't I don't go out of my way to hate any other team, and I really hate Green Bay. Like, to be honest,
Yeah, I hate Green Bay.
Like, there's not really a team in the NBA that I really hate. I don't like Philadelphia, but I'm not going to be the guy who comes on here and be like, yeah, they're not going to be a playoff team. Like, I know they're going to be a playoff team, but
see, I'm old school though. I used to hate Boston. That was the team I hated the most.
I don't.
And then it was the Bulls. I mean, I lived through the times where Bill Laimbeer was clocking people and Kevin McHale was fighting with him and all this stuff. And the Pistons was that team like we were for the Bulls.
Yeah.
The Celtics were that team that got us over the hump, and then we just couldn't beat that team. You know, and you call us dirty. You watch them one time back then.
Absolutely.
Holy cow. And they never say anything about that. They only say, "Oh, the bad boys were terrible and they were, goons and all this stuff." But they don't look at Boston, who was doing the same thing before we ever did it.
It's where we learned it from.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So there are teams I hate. There really is.
Yeah, I just really think outside of Green Bay, I really don't hate anybody. I'm not saying I like them or I root for them, but
right. No, I understand.
I hate rooting for the Cowboys, so I'd never root for them.
So if Red Wings, of course, it's the Avalanche.
Actually, it's the Blackhawks for me.
Is it?
My
Holy cow. You know what? I got to agree in a little way with you with the Blackhawks. That they used to be so crappy when the Red Wings were good. They turned it around a little bit on us, but
it's more kind of like family, like rivalry, where like my uncle's a diehard Blackhawks fan and he always wears it everywhere. Back when the Penguins and Red Wings rivalry was going on, like my family is like diehard Red Wings. Like if you're not rocking with them, they're not rocking with you. Like they might disown you, kind of rocking.
Yeah, there you go.
And my aunt, super diehard, she married someone who hated the Red Wings. So when they were playing in the Stanley Cup against the Penguins, he always wore his Penguin jerseys. And there was a couple times like we've gone out to places where people almost like fought him for wearing that. It's hilarious, man.
Well, as you know, my wife is a Bears fan, so I
don't know how you guys are working that one out. I still don't get it.
It's basically you just watch the game, and then whoever wins, the other person can just have the bragging rights and
is dinner awkward after that one.
Yeah, dinner's during the game, so you actually get to eat before the fighting starts.
That's good. She can't play.
It's not really a fight. It's just who has bragging rights throughout, the house and stuff like that. It's pretty much what it is.
You don't really want to hear that, you want to do the bragging.
Yes, absolutely, I do.
which is never.
It's just never. That's not true though. We owned the Bears for a brief period of time.
For a little bit.
But anyway, so that's the people. So what if we draft somebody that's forward or a center or something like that, a power forward or maybe a center in the draft, which I doubt we will. But if we did, who would you go after in trade or free agency as a point guard? Because we definitely need a point guard.
Oh, God. I've tried to do some serious research on available point guards and free agency because I know it's probably a possibility where we might be put in a weird position where we're kind of stuck here in the middle where the point guards I talked about, like Cole Anthony or Killian Hayes or Kyra Lewis, are like too low on the board for you to reach up.
Oh,
but
I see.
Ones like LaMelo is off the boards, so you really don't want to take one there. And if you trade down, who knows? The power forward, I would probably go Obi Toppin. A lot of it's just because I want to call him Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I love that.
That'd be my nickname for him.
Right.
James Wiseman, he's a solid center, but he's only played a handful of games. Okongwu, this guy's a good defensive player, but the free agency point guards, there's not a ton of them, to be honest with you. There's not a whole lot of these guys I really want to be starting for us.
Right.
I would think we'd have to go out there and trade for a point guard if that is going to be our route, because the top one that keeps flying around is Fred VanVleet, which the guy's not even like, I think he's like 6 foot, maybe 6'1". He's a smaller guard. I just don't.
Ish was a smaller guard. Yeah, I thought he was good. I liked Ish Smith. I'm sorry.
I liked Ish too, but he wasn't brought in here to be the starting point guard.
Right.
He got put in that position because Reggie got hurt, which was all the time.
Right.
When both played, it worked really well. And I'm not saying Fred VanVleet needs to be a backup, but because he just blew up the other night. I just don't know how well he's going to fit here. I think he needs to stay in Toronto. Toronto needs to re-sign him. So that brings in their other point guard, Kyle Lowry. I would be okay with it. I wouldn't be super stoked about it.
How old is he?
I think he's 34.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had to take the wheelchair or the walker to get to Detroit. There's always Jose Calderon, so we're fine.
I think he's about done for. I don't think he's going to come back.
I'm sorry. I had to say it, unfortunately.
As long as it's not Josh Smith, we're good. I'll take it.
Yeah, we're good. It's not Josh Smith.
Anybody but him.
Oh, well, I don't know about anybody, but because I could name a few former Pistons that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Yeah. So I want to ask this question because I don't know if you ever get asked this, but where did the name Detroit Drew come from?
Actually, my brother came up with it.
Okay.
I had my name, and it was just my Xbox gamer tag since I grew up because I thought it was so cool to have one. And funny story, it was Drew 101, Ozzy 97. 97 is the year I was born. I'm 22. I'll be 23 in December. Drew's the nickname. My real name is Andrew, so everyone always called me Drew growing up, so that's kind of stuck around. Ozzy is funny because my last name is Osborne, so everyone always calls me Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, makes sense.
In baseball, when I was batting, they'd always play Crazy Train when I was batting. And at first,
cool.
It was really annoying, but then like when I needed it, like it was an adrenaline rush, so it was kind of cool. The 101 part, to be honest with you, I don't really know exactly where it came from. I don't know why I picked 101. I was just young and dumb. So that's really where it came from. And then I was like, I think I hit 1,000 subscribers. And it just looked weird and funky on there. And it was kind of like doing an intro. Like I can always just say, yo, it's Drew, what's going on? Or whatever it was. And like having to say Drew 101, Ozzy 97, that really doesn't roll off the tongue. And I can
no, it don't.
Because I said it so much. So I just started thinking about some cool names. And I wanted to keep Drew because everyone in the comments always called me Drew because it was the first thing in my name. And my brother's like, why don't you just call it Detroit Drew? You talk about Detroit sports, just call it Detroit Drew. And it stuck with me. I really thought hard about it. And I just couldn't think of anything else, to be honest with you. But it's just like it fits so well with what I was doing that there was no better option.
That's awesome. It's an awesome story. Ozzy Osbourne.
Hey.
You haven't bit off the heads of any bats lately, have you? I'm just kidding.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So, okay. So you have a few terms that I like to get into. So Dreweisers, where did that come from?
Wrestling. Watching The Rock talk about Stone Cold drinking some Steve Weisers. I just remember I get so many ideas from wrestling from watching The Rock. The Rock is my favorite of all time. I quote Stone Cold a lot. I like Stone Cold, but I use The Rock's quotes every single day. So I believe it was in like 2000. They had this big 6-man Hell in a Cell match. It was like The Rock, Rikishi, Undertaker, Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Stone Cold. And Rock made fun of everybody, but he put on Stone Cold's little redneck hat and talked about drink some Steve Weisers, listen to some Backstreet Boys. That stuck with me. So doing this whole branding thing, I thought about Steve Weisers. Well, Dreweisers sounds a lot cooler, so I came up with Dreweisers.
It actually sounds much cooler, and I know where the 316 comes from as well.
Yep, everything I come from.
It was a match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Jake the Snake Roberts, and it was King of the Ring. And Stone Cold said, because Jake the Snake Roberts was playing I don't know if he was playing, but he was a Christian guy at the time, so that's what his character was. And so Stone Cold,
he was recovering from being addicted to
drug addict
and stuff, so he made a huge turnaround.
Yeah. So after he beats him, Stone Cold says, Austin 316 says, "I just whooped your ass." It was pretty funny, and it was the best line, So I know the history, man. I really do. I'm into that.
I grew up on wrestling, so a lot of my stuff comes from there. I don't watch it much now. In fact, I don't remember the last time I've sat down and watched Raw or SmackDown. I think the last thing I watched was the last review where Edge wrestled, because Edge is one of my favorites. But
Edge came back. Yeah,
I don't like it now.
It's not as good as it used to be.
It's not.
Without fans, it's really bad.
I don't mind that. I just don't like the product they put out.
Yeah, product sucks too, but you're not lying there. I think one of my favorite promos, for some reason, it was Heath Slater and it's John Cena. And John Cena called him the chick from Wendy's, and he shows him little pigtails and stuff. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
there's just little things from wrestling. If you watch it, you're going to get catchphrases, and and funny stuff and everything like that. And I actually do see where that came from now that you mention it. That's so cool to go into that history and to find out,
I'm sure I'll
you
come
came
up with something else and you'd be like, oh, I've heard that some way before. And you'd be like, oh yeah, that was because The Rock said it or something like that.
Yeah. The Rock was, I don't know. There was some troll thing, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was him that said it about Cena, and he was going through his stuff because they were going to fight. And, oh God, I think that was some of the best promos ever. He said, "What seventh level of hell did this come from?" And it was some Cena gnome or some crazy thing. Yeah, it was fun. He got live via satellite and all that stuff, and yeah, it was good. That whole thing was good. Nowadays, it just, it kind of blows. Yeah, just being honest, it sucks.
I'm right there with you, man.
But it's fun to talk all kinds of different things: Pistons, Lions, Red Wings, and all of our teams, Tigers, and then wrestling. That's cool too. But what do you think? I want to word this in the right way. Which franchise out of our four major franchises do you think is the next one to be either a division winner or contender or something like that? Because we all kind of suck right now. We got to be honest,
Well, it's not going to be the Pistons. No, I'm going to be real. No, I'm not saying they can't be number 2, but Milwaukee's in our division. Like,
that's true.
As long as Giannis is there, they're going to be the top team in the division. So I'm not saying we can't get better or be number 2, but it's going to be so tough to beat that. The Lions, they have a good shot at it. If the Pistons, if Patricia works out. But again, I'm so skeptical of them because I don't really think that anyone else in the division is like head over heels better than us. I just think they're more well coached. They have more leaders on the team, both offense.
They don't get hurt as much.
That is true. The Red Wings, I don't really know because it takes time to rebuild. Everyone thought Steve Eisman was coming here and turn the team around overnight. It doesn't always happen like that. It's such a home run shot when you can do it. Give them about 5 years, and then we can start talking about it. Yep. And the Tigers, that's all I really need to say about the Tigers because I don't.
Even when you see it, right, with them. Because they're actually doing not too bad right now.
Right now, and I think maybe a lot of that's because they're only playing 60 games. Yeah. But to be honest with you, I haven't kept up with them, man. They just put me just in such a spiral of pain, hating them that I didn't want to talk about them. So I don't really keep up with them as much as I should.
What's really bad is I think the Red Wings are going to be the next contender.
And that's a real good possibility.
Because it's going to take time. I think it'll take 3 to 5 years, like you said. But I don't see the Lions being there in 3 to 5 years. I don't see the Pistons being there in 3 to 5 years. So it's almost
a breakout player.
It's almost by default. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Yzerman's going to do a good job. Not because he's our hometown boy, but because he went to Tampa Bay and he learned and he was successful and he knows how to turn a garbage team around. And that's what we have, a garbage team right now.
Understatement.
So I'm hiring Steve Yzerman to be the general manager of all 4 sports.
Not sure how that would work out. That's a lot to put on a plate.
I don't know, man. That dude, I don't know. I think he can do probably just about anything. He won a Stanley Cup on one leg, pretty much.
That's true.
He went into a hyperbaric chamber before we ever heard of what the heck that was. 2 games later, he comes back instead of being out for the year.
It's crazy.
It was his drive and determination was something else. It just next level, They
don't make him like that anymore. I tell you that.
And if he has that same competition level and spirit in him to be a general manager the way he was in Tampa Bay and bringing that up here and his will to win, I don't see any of the other 4 teams having that will to win like he does.
Not right now. I think you're right. The Red Wings have like the best front office direction right now, and it's kind of hard to do with the Pistons. We just got Troy Weaver. We don't really know what they're going. As long as Avila's in the office for the Tigers, like I really don't want to watch. And then with the Ford family, they
make some really great choices too.
Not really.
That's what I meant. Hey, I'm 50 years old, man. I'm sarcastic and
So am I, man.
Cranky old man, you know what I'm saying? I just want to win, damn it.
I feel you.
do is win. I'm just kidding. But yeah, oh, this is so much fun. I think we could talk sports all night, but what I want to do is I want to get some of your stuff out there if I can do that. Oh man. Well, I got to go to the glasses for this one because I'm blind as a bat without these, which is fine with me and probably nobody cares. So we're going to talk about your show on Saturdays, Above the Rim. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can find that.
Well, it goes on my channel this Saturday. We'll be live 7 p.m. there. And then we alternate between me and 313 Jamal, which you guys are going to watch, subscribe to him. Yep. We just take turns, just hosting the show. And, I'm really trying to get Jamal to 1,000 subscribers because he's been doing YouTube longer than me. And, you guys see him on the shows and he's always like hot-headed and got the hot takes, but he's a really cool dude. Like, you guys got to go subscribe to him and help him out.
Yeah, he's a great guy too.
Absolutely. Everybody
just don't know. If you don't know him personally, you just don't know.
Exactly. And then we got newcomer Pistons Talk. Thousands upon thousands of followers on social media.
I really like him. He came on the Red Wings show with me, and I thought he was very knowledgeable and a real good guy, and that whole thing too. I was very impressed with him.
Oh man, he's so good. I don't remember how that one happened, to be honest with you. I don't remember if I slid into his DMs or if he slid into mine to come on and talk hoops with us. But whatever it was, it happened. He came on and he knew his sports. I was like,
yeah, he was great, man.
I'm like, I don't know how you don't have more subscribers, but eventually the show will be going to his channel and helping him grow as well. It's really kind of what we do here in the DSA, rather if it's the round table, Above the Rim, the offside show.
Yep. I
don't care about the likes and the views. We're trying to help each other grow and to get better. Yep. But this show is like, this is totally me, man. Like so up my alley. We talk mainly Pistons, and right now it's kind of tough since there's not a whole lot going on with Pistons, but this group of people that we have assembled, that we've come together with and talk sports with, like, we know sports just outside our own. Like, we could go in there and talk about the NFL, and everyone could keep pace with it. Everyone could go in there and talk NHL, exception of me, because I don't. We can talk about what's happening right now inside the bubble, which teams will be good, which teams won't be good, because we know basketball. We know how it should be played, and we all have our own teams outside of Detroit. Like, I'm a Mavericks fan. Don't know why, because I hate the Cowboys and I hate pretty much every other Dallas team ever.
The Mavs are different, though.
I don't get it. It's so different.
No, I do. It's Mark Cuban.
Probably.
It is. Mark Cuban's a badass.
I a lot like dirt.
Sorry. Because Mark Cuban's a badass, and I think that's what it is.
He's funny, I tell you that much. But
I don't like the Cowboys, and I don't like the Stars, and I don't like any of the other Dallas teams, but I love the Mavs. For some reason, I really do.
There with you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But the show is great, man. It's so fun.
I've been on before. I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
It's awesome. We get so much fan interactions from people saying, "Oh, we got to trade Luke Kennard," or "We got to trade Blake Griffin," to actually finding people out there on the market that they like, and we get to talk about them, do our research on them. So now we get the fans' point of view, who watch different people than what we watch. So then we get to do our own research on the player, do film studies on the player, and some of us either don't like the player or we actually become pretty fond of it. So then, the NBA is like 30 teams in it.
Yeah.
These fans help us expand our knowledge and our love of it because they watch different teams than what we do. They've watched different players than we do. So when they come on there and talk about, hey, the Pistons need to go trade for blah, 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 we're like, why? Then we go watch them. We're like, oh, maybe we should. Maybe we shouldn't. So it's just a cool way to kick back with the fans and talk some hoops and just kind of forget about the rest of the world right now,
And I like Bravo, too. I got to admit, that guy is he's so knowledgeable about basketball and other things. And
well, before we get carried away there, he is really knowledgeable about today's basketball.
Well, yeah. I mean, he does a lot of in-depth study on today's.
Bravo's key thing is scouting. I will give him that. He was on to Sekou Doumbouya before we knew how to even say Doumbouya.
Yep. Which was right now for me. I'm just kidding.
Let's see if you can say it.
Doumbouya.
That's not bad. Hey, if you've watched Detroit, Drew, for any amount of time, I am the absolute worst with pronouncing names. I butcher simple and plain names. I can't help it.
But you know what? That's kind of your thing, though. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to be stupid or anything like that, but, it just brings you down to being human like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Like Awarrier for the Lions. That took me a hell of a long time. Damn near a year.
It's a tongue twister, though.
I used to go, I used to like bark like a dog and try to say his name.
Oh, I believe. Trust me, I feel you.
Shoot, I actually played and coached a little bit of basketball when I was younger, and it's like that sport has some weird names and stuff like that. But hockey, I've been around since I was 6. And there's some of those names that are like, holy crap.
Shoulder blade to shoulder blade.
Yeah. Svechnikov comes to mind. It's a Red Wing right now and stuff. And some of these just, I had to learn to pronounce names really early on. So I don't know why a Warrior it bothered me so much. It was maybe too many vowels. I felt like it was like Wheel of Fortune. We bought too many.
Let's talk about if they would have helped you with more letters.
For real. You get some C's and Z's in there, I think I'd be all right. But way too many vowels for my taste.
Way too many.
All right, let's talk about your channel a little bit. And here I've got it across the screen below. If you want to subscribe to Detroit Drew and get his takes on basketball and all the things that he talks about, watch him with some Dreweisers in hand, talking some basketball. There is his channel right there on the screen below as it circles around. Let me see if I can make that. Yeah, I think I can. Let's not scroll it. There we go. We're just going to put it there so people can see it and not have to try to go, oh, well, wait, I almost got it. So that's much better. Drew, I really appreciate you being on with me today.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. This was awesome.
So I got to learn a couple of new things that I didn't know about you today. So I thought that was great. To everybody out there, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you know when the new videos come out, and also hit the like button for the video. And after you do all that, I know you're exhausted and stuff, so take 5. You've earned it. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously though, subscribe to 313 JMO. We're trying to get him to 1,000 likes. I don't have the thing prepared for me, but if you go on my channel, you'll see all the featured channels that'll be in there. Just hit subscribe. It's so easy. Just hit subscribe right to the right of this video, and you should be able to see 313 JMO right there. And I want to make sure that you guys you subscribe to his channel too. We're trying to get him to 1,000, and he definitely deserves it. Mm-hmm. But for Drew and me, we are out.